get straight into the book. So the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. This agreement sounds so simple, but it is a very powerful agreement. It is also the most difficult of the 4 agreements to honor. So it is through our words that we manifest everything that happens in our lives. And this has nothing to do with the language that you speak, your intonation, or how you speak. However, this is to do with your intent. So what is your intention when you're communicating with others and with yourself? You can kind of think of the word as a type of force that creates the events that unfold in your life. So the first thing you need to realize is that your words are powerful. It says here in the book, the word is the most powerful tool you have as a human. It is a tool of magic. But like a sword with 2 edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. So it's important to really respect the power of the word and understand how your word can change your reality and the reality of others. You know, we only need to look at the first half of the last century to see how one man's word was able to change the course of history and create so much destruction, hatred, genocide. The word can enter our mind and change a whole belief for better or for worse. So understand that our minds are very susceptible to the words and ideas of others. Quote from the book, you plant a seed, a thought, and it grows. The word is like a seed, and the human mind is so fertile. So this is not only the words and opinions of others, but also, the words that you use to talk to yourself. Okay, so if you're the kind of person that does daily affirmations, maybe auto-suggestion, or in general, you just have a positive outlook on yourself, okay, you're kind to yourself, then you will be sowing the seeds of positivity in your mind. But unfortunately, our minds are all too often fertile to these seeds of negativity, so seeds of doubt, fear, hatred, and, not to seeds of love, happiness, abundance, things like this. Okay, next, the word casts spells. So the book goes into this concept of us all casting spells on each other through the use of our words. And I'll tell you a short story just to illustrate this point here. So a kind-hearted man comes home from work, long hours at a stressful job, and he has an excruciating migraine. He walks into the house, his son is jumping around and singing and expressing his joy. In that moment, the father turns around and says, "Shut up, just shut up. You have a terrible voice." Now, of course, the father never meant these words that came out of his mouth. But due to the migraine, any kind of sound in that moment would trigger him to say these words to his son. But it was already too late, and the spell had been cast. In the days, weeks, and years that followed, the boy would never sing again. And he even became shy and dejected in social situations. He wouldn't like to talk to people because he felt like his voice was unattractive. And all too often, even the ones that love us the most and care about us the most are the ones that cast these spells on us. But, this doesn't mean that we should blame them for this, because, they don't realize the power of their words, and we can only forgive them. Again, we cast spells all the time with our opinions. Another quick story to illustrate. You wake up one morning, you're feeling great, and you go and sit down in front of the mirror, and you're sitting there putting on your makeup and doing your hair for 2-3 hours. And after that, you put on your new clothes that you've just bought, and you're feeling amazing. And your friend walks in and says, "What on earth are you wearing?" And what did you do to your face today? It looks so weird. Now, if you accept the opinion as truth, as we also often do, then your otherwise amazing day has just become one of your worst. And for the rest of your day, it will just be consumed by these negative thoughts. So, we don't know your friend's motivation for this opinion. Maybe she was trying to hurt you. Maybe she was envious because you were looking great. Maybe she wanted to be the best looking one at the party that day, and she saw you as a threat or something like that. We can never know. But whenever we hear an opinion and believe it, we make an agreement, and it becomes part of our belief system. So these agreements that we make over the days, weeks, months, decades even, that unfold in your life, these agreements can, they can really compound and take over your life for the better or for worse. People accept the opinions of others far too easily. And the more heightened your awareness becomes of these opinions being just that, an opinion, the more easily you can choose to not make an agreement with these opinions of others. Now, it doesn't explicitly cover this in the book, but it does touch on this concept, and that is that you are what you consume, or your inputs are equal to your outputs. So if you're someone that consumes negative information, maybe you're always watching the news, or you're always associating yourself with negative people, or maybe you're just someone that always likes to beat up on yourself. So you're always telling yourself, I'm stupid, I'm fat, I'm unintelligent, whatever it may be. Then if you're someone that does these things, what you're going to find is that your life is going to attract more negativity. And this all happens without you even consciously being aware of it. Because what is actually happening is your subconscious mind is taking in all this negative stimulus and manifesting it into all aspects of your life. So it's important to never underestimate the power of your subconscious mind, and always be mindful of what you are consuming on a daily basis. Yep, so be aware of what you're consuming, because this is something that you can proactively control. You can control what you consume. So maybe you need to change your environment or change who you associate with. Maybe you have some toxic relationships that you need to just get rid of. And the things that you watch and listen to as well. Okay, and finally, the last insight from this agreement: gossip is black magic and pure poison. Unfortunately, gossip nowadays has become, it seems like, the favorite pastime of far too many people. And you may have heard this quote before, and it's also used in the book: misery likes company. So people who are suffering, they don't want to be all alone in their suffering. So they misuse their word with harmful intent, otherwise known as gossiping. And they try to harm someone and bring them down to that same level of suffering. And there's a book I love which is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in the book, Stephen Covey talks about this concept too, like not gossiping about others. He refers to it as being loyal to the absent, so not talking about people behind their backs. And I also did a summary on that book. Gossip can be compared to a computer virus. So, another short story. It's a new semester. You're walking to your first class and you have a new professor. You bump into your friend and your friend says, "Hey man, be careful. That guy's a real jerk and he's also a pervert." So you walk off to class, you sit down, and as soon as the professor walks into the class, you feel this emotional poison rising up within you. And you lean over to your friend and you say to your friend, "Hey, be careful, man. This guy's a jerk, and I hear he's a pervert." Okay? Now, before too long, this is spread throughout the whole class like a virus, and then through half of the school, okay? And it all originated from one person's word. And we really can't know what your friend's motive was for saying these words. Maybe Maybe he just wants to blame that professor instead of taking responsibility for the bad grades that he got in that class. We can never know. But imagine every time someone gossips to you, it's like someone is inserting a tiny little code of virus into your mind, which is making you just think a little bit less clearly. And the more of these gossip virus codes that you take into your mind, the more clogged your brain becomes until eventually you can't think clearly at all. And the other main reason why we should never gossip is that if you use the word to gossip and cause harm or to cast spells on others, they will use the word to cast spells on you. So what you put out into the universe, you will also get back. So, to recap this agreement, respect the power of your word. Your word can cause great destruction or great positivity. Understand how easily the word can affect our minds and our belief systems. We are always casting spells with our word. You are what you consume. The subconscious is very powerful. And don't gossip, because gossip is pure poison.